Hi everyone, this is Jennifer and this is week 4. Please bear with me. This is my first time recording with the screencast thing and it's backwards to me, so it's throwing me off. I selected the testing or skill test that I selected was the psychological reaction scale. So in the beginning, it first asked to select the event or situation, what was I doing at the time, and what happened. So for that, I selected um, when I was in a car accident and how my TBI came about. So this is something that I don't know if it's because I've told the story so many times in therapy when I was younger, but it's just one of those memories that don't go away. So it started off with, I remember I was sitting in the back seat, in the middle of the seat. I was younger, so seat belts wasn't a mandatory thing back then. And I remember my mother, who is deaf, was talking with me, and I can't remember what we were talking about, but I do remember her passing over a can of Coca-Cola, and I remember drinking it, and I wasn't allowed to have soda all the time, so I do remember how the feeling of being excited about it. Everything went black after that. And then I remember waking up and not feeling pain, but I did feel like warm liquid running down my face and the feeling of wanting to scratch it, but I couldn't move my arm, and I don't understand why I couldn't move my arm. Um, my heart rate was normal, but I do remember like slight anxiety starting to build up. But I believe that was because I heard my mother sobbing and making like vocal noises. My mother's deaf, so when deaf people talk or whatever, they have certain vocal sounds. So I was able to tell that her vocal sounds were of distress, and she was crying. It wasn't until she started screaming and going into a panic stage is when I remember my heart rate going up, and I remember a pressure in my head, and like like I couldn't lift my head up, and like I caught part of like a pole or a stick that was lodged in my head, and that's when fear kicked in, and fear and crying, and maybe because my body was in shock, that's probably why everything went black again. So I don't remember anything after that until I woke up again, and it was in an ambulance, and I do remember my sister holding my hand and telling me that she loved me, which the reason why I remember that because I don't ever remember her before that or even after that being express her feelings for me. That wasn't a common emotion that she expressed. Um, and I have confirmed, sorry about that, that that actually did happen. Growing up, I had to confirm a lot of memories that would come and go, and if it happened or not, and that's what my family did. So then I took the test that came with it, and I actually took it throughout the week till today. That's why it took me so long to post this. And I selected yesterday as my highest level of stress. I don't know how it started, but I do know that my alertness was at 10, my muscle tension was at 7, my mental focus was at 8, my heart rate was at 8, and my distress level was at 8. I did have a lot going on. I did not sleep well the night before because I was thinking about all the things I had to do. We do sit in the classroom for over like an hour or so, and it's dark most of the time because our professor is talking and she's using the screen and stuff like that, and that does affect me too. I also had class at nighttime for Guardian ad litem training, so because they changed the date of training, it interrupted my schedule for school because originally it was supposed to be on a Tuesday or Thursday, but because they threw it on a Wednesday, that change plus the bad weather we had plus the government shutdown threw my whole schedule out of whack, and it took until yesterday for all of it to catch up to me. And though today I have it more together and I'm back on track, that pile on of Mom, take me to my appointment. Mom, take me to the basketball game. Homework assignments due, doing the wrong homework assignment, turning in the wrong week, like being ahead but still behind, phone calls. And, people will tell you, well, maybe you have too much on your plate and all that. On a normal day, I can handle it. However, I am human, and because I do have other conditions that make life just a little bit harder for me. These are the things that happen. So the effects of my TBI caused me to have growing up and sometimes even now, like problem solving, motor function when I was younger. I had to learn how to zipper up my pants again. I had to learn to walk. I have memory problems sometimes. It's not major, but it's enough for me to notice that if life is getting too stressed, I need to take it 10 steps back, because that's when it starts affecting my memory. And not only that, when I'm having a conversation, I can't think of a simple word like an orange popsicle. I know it's an orange popsicle, but orange popsicle is not coming out of my mouth. I'm like, that color, that popsicle, that it's not red, it's the other one. I mean, it happens. It has affected my language. I had to learn the languages that I already knew. I knew sign language, English, and Spanish, but when I had my accident, and I had to learn two of them again. Social interactions, also constant migraines, and which is managed now by injections and impulse control. So having to be ADHD combo diagnosed and TBI, impulse control is very hard. People who know me understand, and people who don't know me are just like, they don't understand, and it's not like I'm purposely trying to interrupt or anything. And I try my best every day to work on it. And most of the time, I'm pretty good. When I'm excited and stimulated, my impulse control is harder to control, because the stimulation of being so excited, a good environment feeling, it's just, I'm just like kind of like an 8-year-old who's overly excited with too much cake. So, how can I teach how I can control my negative effects from my TBI? How can I help somebody else understand? It's relating with them. You don't have to have a TBI, you don't have to have PTSD, but you have to have some kind of patience and compassion. Everyone has been scared at one time. Everyone has experienced fear, and many have experienced some type of trauma. It doesn't have to be on the battlefield. It could have been growing up. It just, even when I lost my dog of after 16 years, to me, it felt like a family member dying. That was my family member. That's what I had before kids. We don't have to be experts, but we can learn from our clients, and we can learn, and what we don't know, we can ask. Are you comfortable helping me understand how you feel? And the most important, and this is like my model, is be very aware of body language. Usually when I know I'm kind of like rubbing somebody the wrong way or something, or they feel annoyed, is because I can see their facial expression and their body expression. While working with Marines over the years, I do know when they would go to sessions and stuff like that, who they trusted to go to therapy with, who they gave up on. One of the main things that you hear people complain was, they seem like they didn't give a shit. And I'm like, well, did they tell you that? And it's like, no, but she or he just sat there just looking at me. Everybody pays attention differently. There's some people that stare right at you and it makes you very uncomfortable, and you tend to talk less. And there's some people who really get into it, or do the head nod or whatever. Open communication between you and your therapist, you and your friend or whatever. And your body language is most important, because not everyone has to be good at reading people, but everyone can read body language. And negative body language tends to build walls and just continue going in circles, and no one's helping anybody. So Sorry if I was going too fast, and sorry if this is too long. I was trying to get as much information out there. Thank you.